3. So, and then I'm going to do 3 minus 10 is 7. 7 plus 3, 7 plus, right? 3 minus 10, no, is negative. Okay, so I might say that that's negative 4. Somebody else might have done numbers in a different order and get a completely different answer. So if we don't have a rule of how we're going to do it, the one thing is math, it should have one answer. There might be different ways of doing it, but those different ways should give us one answer. And if we change the order in which we do things, if I did 3 minus 2 and then I got 1, and then I did times 5, that would be 5, and then I added 3 to it, I would get 8. These two numbers can't mean the same thing. This expression can't mean two different things. There are no variables there. There's nothing to change. So mathematicians came up with an order of operations. Should I play the song, Mrs. Nelson, or should we just talk it through?
Sure, I like the song.
I like the song too. So I have to share my screen.
I could ask them if they want to hear the song, but I don't know what they'd say.
We're just going to do it. So if I were to do it, where you would find it is you would join my YouTube. You would find it in my YouTube, and I'll show you where it is, because I'm going to be pulling up my YouTube channel right now. I'm going to go here. I'm going to my channel. And when you get on my channel, you'll go into playlists. You'll want to use the full playlist of math, and you'll see in here that down here there are lessons on exponents. Oh, 2 of them in there. There's some different things in there. So you would be finding it there. Order of operations, this is the one that we want to find.
Is something that can change a number. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponents are all operations. Parentheses are not operations, but they give operations higher priority than they otherwise would have. In order to master arithmetic, one must learn the correct order of operations. Through the years, countless students have used the acronym PEMDAS to help them remember the correct order of operations. To help them remember this acronym, many people learn the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." Unfortunately, for these people, multiplication and division have the same priority. Addition and subtraction also have the same priority, although they have a lower priority than multiplication and division. Therefore, PEMDAS, PEDMAS, and PEDMSA are just as relevant as PEMDAS. Confused? Hopefully this song will help clear things up for you.
Those expressions can get.
I'm done with exponents. Should I multiply or divide? From the left to right.
jump in part.
Should I add or subtract?
Back first.
To the left or right? Bet your bar is gonna be your ball.
This one got the name. Love this song.
You see you win, the season replied. Simplify the top of family, forget your mind. It was alright, it's okay. We should practice operations every day. Don't think that you can't understand the order of operations. Yes, you can. Everything that goes from the right and the left, and the left to right.
Left to right, left to right,
Left to right.
left,
I
right.
love it. He sings all high.
I'm sure there's something more current out there, but I love that left to right is so important on this. And a lot of students, that's where they get caught, right? That's where we make our mistakes.
And when tests are being written, that's exactly where they're going to test you to see if you're moving left to right. So one of the things I wrote here, and you can feel free to take a screen, you can take a picture, you can feel free to write notes. We'll probably put this in video, but here's the order of operations. And I really want you to think of it. Order means which to do first. So really thinking about that term. First, I do parentheses. Then it's exponents. Next, it's multiplication or division. So that's what he said with that. PEMDAS is not really good because it makes you think multiplication before division, but it's either one, whichever one comes first when you're looking what's left to right. Same thing with addition or subtraction. I might have to subtract before I add, depends on what I see left to right, but you're always reading math left to right, just like you would read text. So really first, then next, and this is a final step. And each time bringing everything down, it takes a minute to write it down and bring it down. So
And I like to use the word priority because there's different priorities. And this is, you know, what helps us to remember that here.
yeah, this is the most, and he said that when you have the fraction bar, anything above it, it's an implied is again one of those invisible things. It really means parentheses there. It's just not written. It's one of those other things in math to do across the bars when you have that long fraction bar, which is coming for you in a little bit. Well, actually, look, it's coming right away. So let's try some of the problems here. If I had an expression and I wanted to evaluate, whenever I have an expression with both numbers and no variables at all, I know I can simplify this expression with the value. I can give it a value. Okay, and I do that with the equal sign and I change it to an equation. But right now what I'm doing is I start with that expression, and now depending on which order I do things, I can get a different value. And we all know each one of these numbers is not a variable, it's a specific number. It's a constant. 4 is always 4. It constantly remains 4. We call it a constant. There's no changing. First thing I do is parentheses. Okay, so everything around it stays the same. I put the 4, I put the multiplication symbol, and now I just want to look at the parentheses. That says 9 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3, that's 3. I'm just putting the parentheses. Actually, I could take them off. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, and that parentheses had an exponent attached. I'm keeping that exponent. The best way to do this is to do one change every line, one thing each line. Otherwise, you have an opportunity for mistake. Next thing is exponents, okay? So I keep the 4, I keep the multiplication symbol, and I take care of exponents. 3 to the second power really means the base of 3, and I'm going to use it 2 times to multiply by itself. It means 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Now I'm multiplying. That's where I'm left. There's no division. It's just multiplying. 4 times 9, that's 36. And that's where I put my box. That's where I'm done. Keep working, making one change at a time. On this line, I did the parentheses. On this line, I did the exponent. And this line, I did the multiplication. I really could even tell you what I'm doing. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication. And I would love for you to show us the operation you're doing on each line, keeping it straight for yourself as you're practicing through.
Okay. Any questions out there? Okay.
I'm going to do another one then. 5 to the third power. If you want to work it on your own and see if you get the same answer and not look up, you can do that. That's a good way to check in math. If you were watching this video later, I would pause it, try it out, and then start the video going to see if you got the right answer. It's a good way to practice it. Okay, so first thing, parentheses. Okay, everything else stays the same. Going to take care of parentheses. I'm going to put 5 to the third power down. I'm going to keep my operation. I don't want to lose it. And I'm going to change the parentheses. 12 minus 2, I can write that as 10. And I'm going to keep the exponent. So what did I do on this step? I did the parentheses. Maybe we'll put a circle around them so it doesn't look like it's part of the problem. Okay, next step is exponents. Sometimes I have them, sometimes I don't.
Let's pause right there and let them go ahead and type into the chat what the answer is going to be to this problem. What is 5 to the third power plus 10 to the second power? You said something interesting, Mrs. Brown. You said that you would do one step. So now we have 2 exponents here now. What do you think? Would you still maintain that you should just do one? Or if I knew the answers to both, could I do them both at the same time?
I could put both of them at the same time, but if I wasn't sure, I'd write them down one more step.
Okay, we're getting some good answers right now, which is great.
So 5 power is 5 times 5 times 5 again. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 again, I know that's 125. I know if I had 5 quarters, it would be $1.25. And I know 10 squared is 100. So I feel okay doing this. If I was in a longer problem, I really would write. If I was my expression was much more complicated, I would really try it. And now I'm on, I don't have any more division or multiplication. So now I am on addition or subtraction, and it happens to be addition that I'm doing this time. 125 and 100 would be 225, and I'm down to one term. That's my answer.
So even if you knew that the answer was 225, we would want to see all of that work as your evidence, right? It's all about showing procedure and priority, because you're going to need to know how to do this as the numbers get larger. So you must practice the process.
Okay. How are we on time? Are we good for one more?
I think we're good for one more.
One more, okay. All right, we're gonna go for one more. I'm trying to pick one that really looks complicated. Because okay, so here's one. We're gonna go for broke here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, 12 times. So already I put the 12 down, it's already 4.
Idiom. Oh my God. Oh, I already don't like this one.
Oh, doesn't matter how big it gets, it does.
It's going to be a fraction. Oh, yikes. Which means that's division. So now I have division within parentheses with addition. Oh gosh.
I have a very complicated expression, and I'm going to use the order of operations to get it down to a single term. Okay, even though it's more complicated, I'm just going to go down the step. First thing is parentheses, but now I see I have a parentheses, and then I have a parentheses. This, Mrs. Nelson, is where I would do one parentheses, then another step, one parentheses. This is where I would really, this is an opportunity for me to do just really one change.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do parentheses, and I'm going to choose this. You choose the innermost parentheses first and then go out. So that's a little rule with parentheses. So I'm bringing everything else down. 12 times, I've got the big parentheses here. I'm keeping the 4. And now I'm going to just look at this one. 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is?
6.
I'll put this 6 minus 7. I'm just going to do one parentheses. Now I'll take care of this parentheses, but that's why I love this problem. This parentheses, when I really zoom in, it's a little more complicated, right? Because this parentheses has an order of operations happening with inside of it. So I'm going to make a parentheses with a change in it. So I'm still working on the parentheses, but I'm going to make one change at a time. So now I'm looking at this expression just right here. I'm zooming in. Everything else I call coming along for the right. Everything else I've written, I'm going right into here. 6 to the second power. So I notice that I have an expression inside that parentheses that is this. So now I have to use order of operations here. First thing, I am doing the parentheses. Next thing, so I already did the parentheses. Next thing is the exponent. So 6 times 6 is 36 fourths. And now I want to evaluate 36 fourths, which means 36 divided by 4, which is 9. That's what I'm going to put over here, 9. But I actually, to clear that parentheses, I actually have another order of operations going down. And then we did division to get that step.
Yeah, that division when it shows like that is tricky. So that's why it's really important to do those steps separately.
Really slow. I really would take a minute and write it down. All right, now I'm back to my main problem, and now I just have this. So exponents, no more in the main problem. Multiplication or division, it
Left to right.
left to right. The first thing I see is 12 times 9. That's what I'm going to take care of. 12 times 9. This is one that I always need a minute. Who knows what 12 times 9 is right off the top? Otherwise,
I do.
What is 12 times 9?
9 times 10 is 90 plus 18, 108.
That was just, you were answering my second question. And how can you help me remember it quicker? Because I know that you know a pattern that I don't come up quick with.
Well, and that's true too. So it's also up 1, 9, up 1, down 1. So like 99, you go up 1 on the 9 and down 1 on the 9.
So I did the multiplication. I'm going to bring the -7, even though I might be tempted just to write the answer. It really took me one moment, not even a minute to write that down. And now addition or subtraction. I don't have addition, so this one is subtraction only. 108 minus 7, 101. 101 is what simplifies this whole thing. But this is in a problem.
That is the order of operations. How are you guys doing? Any questions out there?
What can I do to clarify? What questions do you